the lower corner of this painting, there is a small, almost invisible object, a golden jar with a Latin inscription that most visitors never stop to read. And when you read it, you realize that this work is not what it appears to be. This is not a religious painting. This is a letter of grief. This painting is called Pietà. It was painted by the French artist William-Adolphe Bouguereau, and when it was exhibited at the Paris Salon of 1876, critics praised it for weeks. They admired the emotion on Mary's face, the technical mastery of the angels, the composition, the light. Not one single critic noticed the jar. No one asked what it said. No one considered that it might matter. That was a mistake. To understand why that jar changes everything, you first need to understand who Bouguereau was at that particular moment in his life. In the summer of 1875, he was the most successful painter in France. His works sold before they were even finished. The Salon welcomed him every year with honors. He was 49 years old, with a wife named Nellie and 5 children. He was, in every visible sense, a man standing at the very top of everything an artist could ever hope to achieve. On the 19th of July of that year, his eldest son died. Georges was 16 years old. His health had been deteriorating throughout the summer, and Nellie had sent him away from Paris, to the countryside, to the clean air, to the home of some friends. And there he died, far from his parents, without either of them being able to be with him in that moment. The term Pietà does not appear in any gospel. No biblical text describes Mary holding the body of Christ after the descent from the cross. The scene is, strictly speaking, an invention. It originated in 14th century Germany in small wooden sculptures carved for private devotion. When that image reached Italy, Michelangelo transformed it forever. His Pietà in the Vatican, carved in white marble when he was just 23 years old, showed a serene, remarkably young, almost resigned Mary. Bouguereau knew that sculpture well, and he chose to do something entirely different. Mary occupies the absolute center of the canvas, but Bouguereau made a decision that breaks with centuries of tradition. He dressed her in black. In Christian iconography, Mary always wears blue, celestial blue, the blue of purity, of divine mediation. Black brings her closer to a completely different figure, the French widows of the 19th century, the ordinary mothers in mourning, the women who had lost their children and had no supernatural comfort to shelter them. And yet, above her head, there is a golden halo. Bouguereau did not want to strip her entirely of her divinity. He dressed her like any other mother, but he reminded the viewer that she was still sacred. That tension between the human and the divine is what holds the entire painting together. Her eyes are the most disturbing part of the canvas. They are painted with an almost clinical precision. Red, swollen, marked by the kind of crying that has gone on for far too long. If you look closely enough, you can see the tears on her cheeks. But the most unsettling thing is not the weeping. It is where she is looking. She is not looking toward heaven. She is not pleading. She is not searching for comfort above. She is looking at you. There is something in that gaze that makes many people look away without quite knowing why, as if she were accusing them of something they have not done, as if they cannot bear the weight of being seen by someone who carries what she carries. Bouguereau spent weeks working on those eyes alone. He knew exactly what he was doing. Around her, 8 angels form a complete arc. Some are weeping. Others are looking at the body of Christ. Others turn their heads away, as if they are unable to hold the scene in front of them. There is an interesting technical detail. All 8 angels were painted from only 2 models. Bouguereau repeated the faces, varied the postures, and changed the gestures. It was a compositional device he used often, and one that some critics have read as something more than a trick, a single presence manifesting itself in different forms. But what matters most are the colors of their robes. Taken together, they form a complete rainbow. This is not decoration. In the Old Testament, the rainbow that appeared after the flood was the promise that after destruction, the world could begin again. Bouguereau placed it there, directly above the dead body, to say exactly the same thing, that after the most absolute pain, the possibility of rebirth still exists. But none of that is the detail that changes everything. In the foreground of the canvas, almost hidden among the other elements, lies the crown of thorns on a white cloth stained with blood, and next to it a golden jar, and on that jar engraved in Latin an inscription that reads, "In memory of my beloved son George, on the 19th day of July in the year 1875. Bouguereau was not painting Mary. He was painting himself. And the body of Christ was not Christ. It was George, his 16-year-old son who died in the countryside, far from him, in a summer that should have been like any other. A father who never got to say goodbye, who found no words for his grief, and found instead a biblical figure that had been carrying the same weight for centuries, and used her to say what he could not say in any other way. The cruelest part is that this loss would not be the last. Bouguereau would lose 4 of his 5 children over the course of his lifetime. He would lose his wife Nellie 2 years after this painting, while giving birth to their 5th child. And he would lose the newborn just a few months later. The Pietà was not a monument to a single loss. It was, without him knowing it yet, the first in a long series of devastating events that was only just beginning. There are people who confess to feeling guilty when this Mary looks at them, as if they have no right to be well while she holds what she holds in her arms. Perhaps that discomfort is exactly what Bouguereau intended. The only way he found to make the world understand his pain was to create an image from which it was impossible to escape. A mother who looks at you and will not let go.